after evaluating the film from the last game, it's a very disappointing thing to watch. Some really good things in there. Moved the ball well. When you look at the film, what it gets down to is lack of attention to detail. Had plenty of opportunities to do the things we had to do. The overall scheme of the things we did was well, moved it well, but we have had too many penalties. Had some motion penalties. Had 5. I mean, one guy had 3. We jumped, just anxious, trying to be there too quick. Had two holdings. One was very critical. Give up a first play, and the first drive was a 50-some yard gain that put us down in scoring position. It was very critical. Had a turnover. We had some missed assignments on some blocking, and back didn't do what he needed to do. And the quarterback's got to try to get rid of it quicker, or just eat the sack because we didn't have a chance to really throw it away. And but missed opportunities. We can go through them all. As you ask questions, I'll tell you exactly what happened on all of them. But just attack. Had nothing to do with effort. Had nothing to do with toughness. Had nothing to do with wanting to do the right things. Just a lack of attention to detail and some missed cuts by some backs on some critical runs that could have gashed up in there pretty good, and but didn't. And we missed a couple blocks, just a little bit. We took turns across the board. And then defensively, when we needed the one big stop, we didn't get it. I mean, it's funny around here. You either score 13 on offense, you don't win. If you give up 30 on defense, you don't win. There's been we could have won 2 games 37-35, or we could have won 2 of them 16-13, and we didn't do either one of them. And we got to learn to make the critical stop. Defense played a very good game until the last drive. I mean, they had their opportunities to stop them, and we didn't do it. And we're allowed to win 13-7. But offensively, we have plenty of opportunities down there to score points too. And just like in the Clemson game and the Wake game, we could have drove and scored and won 37-35, but we didn't. You know, that's something we got to continue to grow in some of this youth and getting over these humps. But we'll get better at it. And the key is going to be it's attention to detail. It's not scheme. It's not players. It's how we're doing things and how well we do things. And that's what our goal and focus is getting the details. And you always have to do that, and we always stress that. But that's just one game that we didn't do it. And you'll look at they're all fundamentally technique things that when you look at the film, I wish y'all could watch that film and see it. You'd see a whole different perspective of how you see things. But that's it. It's not as far as it seems, but it's not as close as it seems if you don't have the right mindset. And we'll have a very tough game this week. Florida's a very good defensive football team. I think 17th in the country in defense, and got a very good front. So we're going to have to a very good period on offense and all the other things, and we got good players. But got to get going. But we got to correct the mistakes from last week. Questions?
Jimbo, is with both teams, with one team's got 4 losses, one team's got 5.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do you think that diminishes in any way this rivalry? And second of all, is it really a healthy situation for both these teams? And do you think that will be improved if you and Will keep your plans intact for both of the teams?
I lost what you said there. You mean for the first part of your question? No, that's why it's a rivalry. When you have a rivalry, records don't matter. So I don't think that diminishes that. And to me, if records diminish a series, then it's not a true rivalry. Our true rivalry is why you like this team, and back and forth. That's what defines a rivalry. And but now the second part of your question.
To rephrase, if you and Will continue the track you're going, do you think that the days of these teams meeting when they're both like 10-1 or 9-2,
not if we keep going. Not if we keep losing 4 games and 5 games.
But
I mean, if we both lose 4 games and 5 games, it won't. But no, I don't think. I think they got good players. I think we do. You look at them across the board here. I'll look at their defense runs. They got one senior. They got one senior player, and they got a bunch of really good young players. They're 17th in the country in defense. Offense, though, I don't know. They got to get some things fixed and do some things. We're inches from having the wins we've had. We've had a drastic number of injuries. We've had a bunch of young guys having to play. And it's not an excuse, but that's a fact. Those are facts of what you have to deal with. And we're not that far away from winning. And we won 10 games last year. Those kids will remember. I love the direction we're going. I don't like we lost. I'm not saying I'm happy with what happened. And we had some things, but they're very fixable and can happen in a heartbeat. I mean, you can flip it around in a heartbeat. And we're very close to that. And I think with all the young players and the lack of seniors of which we have, I mean, you're talking about a lot of guys coming back. A lot of guys been through these situations that are very good players that I think we can fix. I don't think there's anything wrong with the direction we're going. We haven't gotten there this year. We've stumbled. There's been a lot of reasons. But when you go back and really research it.
Jimbo, I don't know if take a step back is right, but EJ, did he do things?
He had 4 plays. He had 4 plays. He missed a big touchdown throw down the middle. There was an option read. I wish he would have pulled on a 3rd and 2. He could have kept. The sack at the end of the game, we wasn't planning on the running back running right by the linebacker not blocking him. He had blocked him 3 previous plays in a row. Now, why he didn't, I don't know. He assumed the guy was blocked. I did too. which gives us time to read the play and then throw it away or hit it. But we did. And then the fumble in the red zone, when he turned to throw the screen, we got beat on the right side. The guy got beat inside where he threw it. He tried to step away, should have just ate the ball, took a sack, and there was nothing he could do. And the throw to Kenny Shaw in the end zone. Kenny's 2 steps too quick in the end zone. He's got to press it 7 steps and be skinny. That was the exact play that he gets picked. That's the time he hit. That's the play he hit Bird on a touchdown with at Boston College. And the exact play, if you remember, when the safety rolled over in the opening game of the year against ULM, and he tried to squeeze it in when the guy ran the route short. I don't know if you remember me telling you that. And he threw the pick. He learned his lesson and he threw it away. So we didn't, again, details of a route, where you going. Did he play his best game? No. Did he play his best game? No way. But we took a couple things away and didn't play as well around him. And he'll be the first one that he feels worse than anybody. But a quarterback is like that. A quarterback, like the first touchdown drive. When we turn the guy completely loose and he does a complete 360 and turns and throws a 15-yard completion to Burt, and then we drive down, score, and he has a 20-yard scramble, and we get to the 1. We don't score that touchdown either. But that's part of being the quarterback. You take the glory, you take the blame, and you're the eraser. When everybody else messes up, you got to try and eliminate it. And then, does he wish he took that sack? No. The backer got on him much quicker than he thought because he assumed the first guy was going to be blocked. And it wasn't. Now, why it wasn't? We had blocked it 3 previous plays. That's what I'm talking about. Do it detail, and all of a sudden, don't do it. And it's a shame.
Has he progressed this year like you
Oh, yeah. I think he's done a great job. I think his leadership, his knowledge of what he's doing, making good decisions, making good throws. He's got a ways to go. Oh, there's no doubt. Because he's only played half, and he's been injured even the parts that he played. But he'll continue to get better. As I say, we had the opportunity to score about 34 points in the game. We didn't. We scored 13 because of lack of detail execution. We scored 34. We'd been sitting there happy as heck, and we'd been smiling and singing. But that's ball. That's what you got to be detail-oriented on everything you do. When you go back and look at the film, it's all details. And it moves from whether it's offensive line to running the first short yardage. Blocked perfectly. Ball's supposed to bounce outside and walk down the end zone. And if we break a tackle from a guy 7 yards off, it could be a 60-yard touchdown. We bounce it back, cut it back. Wrong read. And we practiced, knew when they were going to pinch, talked about it. Lonnie leads outside. We're supposed to follow right outside. We don't. Again, just lack of focus and detail. Not because they want to, not because they didn't love it. On the goal line, we had a missed assignment up front. We had a missed assignment up front the first time. But again, and can sit there and tell you they did it. And could tell when they walked off what they did. But I just didn't execute for some reason.
Jimbo, you said several weeks ago, it was already on your mind about your problems on short yardage, 3rd one, 4th one. Yes, you're at the goal line, of course, with four downs to get in the other night. And you kind of said laughingly, well, maybe we'll just start throwing it. Because is that something that...
Well, we did on 2nd one. We threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then we threw it on 2nd down. We missed the block on 1st and 10. And if we stick the run, it might score anyway. If not, you're still on the 1-yard line. And on 2nd down, we slid protect. And we got Bo wide open. And we don't block out. And can walk off the field and tell you exactly what he did it wrong. And a guy who played a lot of football. And just uncharacteristically made 2 mistakes right there, right in a row. But you got to play action now. You can't just line up and run it every time. But the first run was a missed assignment or we walk in. And the second one, we just don't slide protect and we got Bo open. And the third one, they're holding both receivers. So, that's a different animal. But again, it goes back to those are the reasons it happened, and we do it. And we did run a 3rd and 1. We did run a little rollout with EJ and scored. Got a big first down right before the sack and the last punt. It was a 3rd and 1. And we ran a play action and had one there. We scored on the goal line with 85. Jabbar's caught his touchdown pass down there in the corner of the end zone on 2nd and 1. From the 1, and we had Bo wide open. We got exactly what we wanted on that one, and just missed a block on the backside. So, but you got to run and pass it. You got to keep a good mix.
Chris, we had some fun with this in the summer, but now that this week is actually here, how do you think? Does it matter that one of your best friends is on the other sideline?
No, right now we're trying to win games and take care of our teams, and you don't even think of that. You don't. You don't even. You have respect for your opponent, but right now it's game week, and that doesn't even factor into anything.
Do you think it'll ever cross your mind during the game when you're thinking about calling a certain play in a certain situation? Will you ever think, that might
maybe his personality.
I know how Will thinks.
Well, maybe,
and
possibly,
the other way around.
But possibly could be that. You always you do that to guys you play in the league. That's why I keep a running notebook. You got a book out there every game. It's that thick on every situation the guys do and what they do. We write it up after the game, critical mistakes, critical things they do when they do it. And, and you remember when you play certain people over a long period of time in the league, it's the same way. I mean, you know what, hey, it's this situation, he likes to blitz. This situation, he likes to play coverage. This situation, he likes to blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And you can't...
Works the other way too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works the other way too. Exactly right. I mean, and it's when you're in the. That's why I say when you measure coordinators and you measure people, everybody gets enamored in 1 or 2 years. Wait till a coordinator's in the league 3, 4, 5 years. Because you can trick. It's easy to trick people for a year or two. Stay in there for 3, 4, 5 years and see how they change, evolve, and how consistent they become over a period of time. As you watch, that's when you measure. We all want to jump in there and jump on them right off the bat. Let them stay somewhere for a long period of time, and then you really see because then they have to make adjustments within adjustments. And you see how people coach. But people bounce around so much anymore, it's hard.
What did you see in Will when you recommended him to Nick? Because that puts your reputation on the line too when you recommended someone.
Very sharp guy, worked with him, understood ball, understood the big picture, very passionate, very hardworking, very committed to coaching and understood, like I say, really had a feel for the game and understanding, you know what I mean, and a good person, and a downright good person who would work hard. I knew he'd be good because he got a good personality. I mean, really liked him as a GA, was just you know those guys when you work with them who's going to have a chance to really be good. You know players when you coach them who has a chance to be a really good coach in time. You know what I mean? Their personality and yeah.
Did he talk to you when he was when he had the coach and waiting thing offered? Because you had already.
Briefly, we had touched base, but we had the same agent.
Oh yeah, you booked it.
So
You
I
were
mean, it was
first,
the
right,
same
on that?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So did he ask you how's it going? What's it like?
Yeah, and things to get ahead of time, timetables and money and how they had it set. His got structured better. You know what I mean? I think from the money salary point and where they were going to get him to, and I think you learn, people learn from it as they go in.
Jimbo, did the wives ever curtail the football talk when you were spending that vacation time together?
But we never vacationed together. That's what everybody said. We was never there together. I mean, we both wanted to place at the beach. Both were coordinators. Didn't want to spend all that money to get a place, but you want to be down there some. So you divided it. You know what I mean? And you split your time when you're there. So we were never ever there, ever. Now Kenny and Carol may have been sometimes taking the kids somewhere or something like that. But he and I were never ever there together. Heck, I like the beach. I don't love it.
You still have that arrangement? I mean, it's still.
Yeah, it's still there. You want to buy the house?
I said, they're not
You
paying
can buy-
me
you- yeah, you-
2.7, Coach.
No, I wasn't in either. You got to remember, we bought that when we were poor. We were way back. That's why we're all in it together. You can buy it. It's for sale.
It couldn't have been any. I mean, the irony is, I guess one was at Alabama, one was at Auburn, Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, it's like
It is.
there are
It's just
very
kind of funny.
few
How the past
situations
happened.
in this country that's could have worked out where it's the irony of you guys winding up where you are.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. It's like God has a plan for a lot of things. So he's got to sort through it.
Jimbo, going back to the Virginia game, the defense played really well against Miami for stretches, but the fourth quarter defense, when the game's on the line, they've given up 3 75-plus yard drives.
I know it is. We've talked about that, having to maybe add more pressures, add more looks. You know what I mean? Sometimes is maybe be more aggressive at times because you don't want to say be aggressive and everybody says, and y'all get to say, why would you blitz when you got a 3-point lead? Why wouldn't you make them milk it down? I mean, it's easy to sit back and then say that. Just like on play, I mean, it's just the way it is. It gets, you guys are looking, that's why I say, if you could ever look at the film, you'd understand. I mean, but it gets down to results. That's what fans want to see. That's what everybody wants to see. That's it. But it's things we're trying to tweak and turn as we go. And I say, you're being picked. They're playing really well, but there's other issues because we've been playing with leads. We've been playing with a lot of leads. I mean, and this is one time we stubbed our toe offensively. I mean, we've scored 30 points in every game, but a couple. These last couple. And then early in Oklahoma, we lost EJ. But I mean, we had a long run of games of scoring points, and they've been playing with the leads and makes them one-dimensional. And but those teams aren't bad. You know what I mean? But that guy made a good throw and made a couple good plays, and get some interesting things on some calls back.
Jimbo, there's the old tired saying about defense wins games. It turns out this year that the bowl eligible teams in the ACC are there's a lot of course 8. They've all they're the top 8 defensive teams in terms of total yards given up.
You're never a great team till you're a great defensive team. You're never a great team. And that's just an offensive guy. That's why I put some emphasis on recruiting defensive players. I mean, I don't believe, because here's what you got to understand. Anytime an upset happens, I'm going to say 85%. 85% of the time, you know what you get it down to? Offensive special teams. 85% of the time when an upset happens. Because usually it's when a team you're supposed to beat, because when a ball's involved, they're going to be an off day. Ball don't go in the rim. Ball can't putt. I can drive it, I can't putt. When you're talking about the timing and rhythm of offense, or a kicker, or a special teams thing, somebody misses a kick or something like that, that's what it usually equates back to 85% of the time when there's an upset. Very rarely are they high scoring. Now, you had a couple this weekend. Oregon got beat and got upset, but it ended up coming down to a kick. And then Oklahoma gave up a pass at the end. You know what I mean? But the Oklahoma State their offense struggled, and they only scored 17. They've been averaging, 50? If you go back and look and research, when upsets happen, it's generally the offensive side or the kicking side of the ball that is the reason why it happens. Because it's harder to be good consistently when a ball is involved in any sport. On offense. I mean, do you go out there and shoot 20 for 20 every night on basketball? Do you, when a hitter, good pitching always beats good. You get in streaks when you hit the ball. That's the way it goes. I mean, you get in slumps. You have, y'all ready to throw Pujols. Everybody was ready to jump Pujols. He was the worst player ever. Couldn't hit with power, struggled for a while, and all of a sudden, you go through those times. Defense is what wins you there and keeps you stable for your program. I'm a believer in that and I'm an offensive guy, wholeheartedly. And if you go back and research the history of upsets, you'll look. Because they fumble, they turned it over, the ball been off the fingertips. It's always involved with the offensive special teams, usually kicker.
Coach, your comments after
Only
that.
2 questions left, Coach.
That's all right, I like this.
Speaking of your offense, it seems the last couple of weeks, you guys haven't gone as vertical as much. How much of that has been?
Well, you're getting some too deep coverage. You get a lot of coverage too. You got to hit seams. You're not going to throw the ball. You get some too deep, you get some back, and then you get some teams that can rush the passer. We had some. Early we did go early. You take that back. We had a 50-yarder the first series. Get it called back. We have another one. We missed, and we got it in a reverse. We had Burt for a 68-yarder. You had a chance to have right there's 2 pass plays with 3 pass plays going to be over 50 yards, and you connected on 2 of them. So we had a holding on one, we missed one, and got caught on the 1-on-1. So it's about like it was. It's just a matter of you had the hold on one, we had to reset our feet and just missed one, and then the other one we get caught on one and then didn't have a bad goal line series. You're talking about 21 points, bang, 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 right off the bat. So we did go deep. And threw a deep ball at the end right there. Had Rodney in a 1-on-1. They pressed us and tried to go down there. But protection is an issue. You got to pick your moments. You get guys that can rush the passer and do some things. Now you can't just spread out and say I'm gonna throw it deep. You go back in those other games. There's only 3 or 4 of those occasions that we did. We happened to hit them all, but it's the same number of times that we just did in this one.
Jimbo, what's the dynamic of the running game? Is Devonta looked like he was solidified there, and then Jermaine got in and got some at-bats and played pretty well.
Keeping them weak and keep the
feel on
rotation.
that?
Yeah, we wanted to play Jermaine the other week. We just made the Miami. Jermaine was going to play. He was playing before the Miami game. And he was going to play in the Miami game, and then had 20 plays in the first half. You're backed up, and they kept the ball for a 9-minute drive. And we told Jermaine we wanted to keep him back in the game. And he's a senior, and he's playing. He's done some good things. He's practiced well. He's healthier now than he was in the beginning of the year. And he ran pretty good when the games we had him in. And he played solid in this game. Missed a couple cuts. We wish he could have back one right before the sack. We wind that one back. Look at the film on that. If we hit that one and wind it back, it's about a 20-yard game. We're down in there really good. But that's a bounce run. That's part of the little inches and what we got to look at and make sure we do it. It was blocked perfectly. And we gained a yard. So the reason things. That's why I try to tell you the reason. Don't look at the result. Look at the reason things are going. Where it is. And then when you have a game like this, they usually bounce. It's never all one guy. It usually bounces where everybody takes their turn once or twice, and all of a sudden, costs you a drive.
Coach, when you're describing the mistakes your players made in this game, it sounds like a lot of them are mental errors.
Discipline.
Is there any chance they're being asked to do too much?
It's not discipline. No. They're base plays.
Are they just thinking too much and not getting a chance to do what they need to do?
No, you're mentally fit. We don't do that much. They were base plays. At the end of the year, your mental fatigue and your ability to stay fresh and focus and concentrate, and it happens. You see it. You saw it this weekend, probably all the way across the country. And it's a thing that coaches we know that we have to try to keep and make sure that mentally you stay fresh in what you're doing and make good decisions. It goes back to keep making the proper decisions and doing it over and over and over again. But it goes back to attention to detail. As I say this, our kids, and it's something as a coach you have to address. You are not geared. Anything is not geared anymore to detail. Even y'all. Everything y'all do is a tidbit. It's a flash report. It's a quick headline. It's a quick something to catch somebody's eye. It's a Twitter account. It's a text that's abbreviated quickly. And like I told somebody else, watch movies, old movies. We used to watch a set of a movie. That scene stayed on for what, 10, 15 minutes at a time, and you moved to another one? Watch a movie now. 45 seconds, a minute and a half, 30 seconds, and it's jumping around. So what I'm saying is, and it's instant gratification. So what it is, it's hard, and the guys who can match it, that's what we got to get to. And we were doing it, and we just let it slip. Attention to detail is the key to everything you do. And it's in our society. Our kids are geared up in that from the way they're raised now, from how it's going on, to be quick, to be fast. And it's not an excuse, it's a fact of how you got to coach them. You got to constantly put your finger on. My kids are like that. Generalities, and we got great, and we're playing more talented kids than ever. So what they rely on? Talent. And when they get tired, my talent will always pull me through. You know what I'm saying? And you got to constantly keep on them about the attention to detail. And the teams that are being consistent are the ones that are having great detail. And we did that was the difference in us in that stretch. We were attention to detail, and we let it slip. And we didn't have attention to detail. We had it.
If the summer's like this, does that mental fatigue also affect coaching and coaches?
Oh, I think it affects anybody's involved in it. I mean, that's the thing. You always stay fresh. I always make a note of myself. Are you fresh? Keep yourself fresh. What do you got to do to stay fresh? Be fresh during the week. Be fresh, you know what I mean? To remind yourself. Get rest. And like I say, it's why we go home at 10 o'clock on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Stay till 10 and go. Anything after 10 o'clock ain't going to be a good decision. Can't be. I mean, you can't, those work days, it's hard to do. And you got to stay focused about, those days can be too long.
I was just gonna say,
Do you
how
and Will
much?
talk less football since he's become coach?
We haven't talked much at all recently because we've been so busy this season. We haven't talked one time.
Past, did you used to, like, when he was in Texas?
Not a bunch. I mean, we still would do occasionally. Not really. I mean, about the same as always.
I was just gonna say, how much of that is important this week? Back to back.
It is. It's emotion. And you won't have a problem getting the emotion for this game.
Sure.
We got to go back to detail. What we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and how well we can do it. And this is a good team. Like I say, the thing about Florida, everybody talks, they're 17th in the country in defense. They're 25th in points. I mean, they're very athletic. They're very big. They're very strong. They'll be as good a front guys we play. Offensively, Dubose can make big plays. Rainey, Demps. I mean, they got playmakers, and you got to kick it to them. I mean, they've got a good group. I mean, they've got these guys here were as good as people was in the country. You look across their board, and you look sophomore, senior, sophomore, junior, sophomore, junior, freshman. I mean, they're young too. To answer your question back a minute ago, I mean, you got to. They were in a weird situation when he took over down there too, and we were here. We went through a decade now. You're not going to snap your fingers and all of a sudden change and not have seniors on your team, and just magically just jump to the top. It takes time to build something, and hopefully not too long, but we're close, and we'll get done.
All right, thanks, Ed.